Artist Alley. So let's go down and do quick introductions for everybody. We have Editor-in-Chief Holly Interlandi.
Good enough.
Artist Jonathan LaMattia. Yes. It's like a test.
Yes.
Artist and illustrator Cody Brosh. Writer and artist Patrick McAvoy.
Pretty much right.
Close. Artist Mark Renee. And artist and illustrator Marco Ferrari. So it's exciting. You guys just established in 15, didn't you?
2015, yes. We started as the comic book imprint arm of Famous Monsters of Finland magazine, which I don't know if any of you know, but was established by Forrest J. Ackerman back in 1958 as the very first monster fanzine magazine about just science fiction and genre stuff that wasn't really celebrated at the time, and people felt a little bit weird for loving it. Well, Forey started Famous Monsters basically to celebrate those people and the stuff they love. And so, as well as put out the magazine, Famous Monsters decided that we were going to start putting out original comics as well. Forey was actually the co-creator of Vampirella, who's one of the most enduring comic book characters of all time. And so we decided it was time for Famous Monsters to start creating our original monsters again.
So, but you guys, had you already been, all of, at least the main editorial staff, been involved with Famous Monsters before spinning up the imprint, or did you guys come on as part of American Gothic?
We were actually all involved with Famous Monsters. My publisher, Philip Kim, had a bunch of ideas, and we were trying to think of other ways, basically, to make original stories as well as cover other people's stories. And I was editor of the magazine at the time, and Phil is my publisher. And I have long been a huge comic book fanatic as well as editor. And he was like, "So hey, you want to start a comic publishing imprint?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we did.
And you guys have both the anthology pieces that you're working on, as well as new titles, and then dealing with existing IP really, and talking about like Lost in Space. What's it been like to deal with, kind of like as opposed to all the original stories that you do, dealing with when you're in someone's sandbox that already exists and dealing with that fan base? What's that been like?
Patrick, you want to take that one?
Oh, it's great.
Can you talk about it? Patrick is the artist on the current Lost in Space story arc, Malice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
Which I have later on in the presentation if you want to look at.
We'll come back to that then. Actually, you have a presentation. Why don't we do that? So that'll set context.
Okay. Yeah, these are just some of the titles that we debuted in 2015. We've got Gunsuits, which was our very first title. It's your classic monsters versus mechs story about multiple dimensions. Broken Moon was our next one. We worked with Steve Niles, who's a famous horror writer in the comic business. Broken Moon is sort of a post-apocalyptic Universal Monster Mad Max kind of thing. And we had Nat Jones drawing the art on that one, and that was great. And then we did Project Nemesis, which was an adaptation of Jeremy Robinson's original kaiju novel. So it was sort of like, genetically engineered Godzilla attacking New England. And then these are some of the additional titles we introduced this year. Monster World was a creation of my publisher, Philip Kim, which originated as an idea of what if when they did the Universal Monster movies in the 30s, they were using real monsters instead of makeup. And so Monster World focuses on a detective who investigates a murder and discovers essentially that these monsters are real. Killbox was an original pitch that we got from Tom Reardon, which is a fantastic, uber-violent sort of, I want to say kill game, but it's more than that. It's more cosmic in scope, and it's really violent and great. We have Nathan Gooden on art, and that was fantastic. That was a big one for us. And Finn was actually the winner of the Famous Monsters Silver Screen Fest Award for Best Graphic Novel that was submitted to us by John Clark, who was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, he could not come to AlienCon. But it's a fantastic, really disturbing, grotesque horror story about a woman who will do anything to become thin. And that's been doing really well for us as well. The first 2 issues are out, and the 3rd is coming out next month. Ow, Lost in Space. Oh, my font's not working. Oh, that's terrifying. Sorry about the formatting issue. I didn't think about that when I was making my font. Now we can go back to Lost in Space.
You were talking about Lost?
Oh, I don't know Lost in Space, sure. Yes, so they brought me on to Lost in Space out of the blue. A friend of a friend got me in touch, and I was brought in to do covers. I did not do this beautiful cover, but I did the other 2 you see here. And the first 3 issues were done by a Greek artist, Kostas, whose name I can't pronounce.
Kostas Pantoulis, yes.
Yes,
He did the first. The first art was more of a serious. Well, I mean, first of all, does anybody want to know the story of how we obtained these Lost in Space
Yes, you should tell that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because again, my publisher is acquainted with Prometheus Pictures and Kevin Burns, who are actually, as you know, here for Ancient Aliens. And they're also in charge of the Synthesis Entertainment, which is in charge of the Irwin Allen estate. And Irwin Allen is the creator of Lost in Space, as well as a bunch of other really well-known properties like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and The Time Tunnel. Yeah, a bunch of other crazy things. And so, unbeknownst to a lot of people, there were unused scripts in the Irwin Allen archives written by Carrie Wilbur for the Lost in Space television show. They were written back in 1968, before it was canceled, and they've been sitting around in the state of the warehouse, and nobody's done anything with them. And so we decided to make them into comic books. And there are 2 episodes, the 2 scripts. The first one was called The Curious Galactics, and that's the one that Kostas Pantoulis did. And the one that we're running right now in comic shops is called Malice in Wonderland, and I think you can probably have a good idea of what that's about.
And that was great. So I'd been doing coloring and the covers for the first 3 issues, and they asked if I would want to take over with issue number 4 to do the next arc, and I said yes because I like Lost in Space, but little did I realize the script was this Alice in Wonderland. I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan, so this was like a dream come true. And so I got to do all the interior art, pencils, inks, and colors. Oh, like this.
This is issue 4, the first couple pages.
And I even got to draw this character, Willoughby the llama, who shows up out of nowhere, but his backstory is interesting. They were going to introduce Willoughby the purple llama in season 3, but apparently he kept spitting and biting people on the set. So they replaced him with a human, basically, doing the same part. The Great Vegetable Rebellion is I'm learning way too much about Lost in Space, I know. And so season 4, I assumed they were going to bring him back because this season 4 script has Willoughby the llama right in smack dab in the middle of it. So rather than replacing it with a human, since we're doing art, we just used the llama.
It's the beauty of comic books, people. We don't have to worry about actual llamas. We can just draw them.
Now, I needed to get a llama into my studio as a model. And they do smell really bad. But yeah, so there's what we've been doing. And issue number 5, the second part, just came out, and you can pick them all up at the AGP booth downstairs. And you can even stop by my spot on Artist Alley, and I can sign them for you. And that's the story.
This is issue 5. This is the beginning of issue 5. Did we just lose our projector?
It all takes place in the dark. This is
It's actually live footage.
this page took forever. It's one of those ones where I started with lots of detail, and by the time I was done, I covered it all in.
Don't change the panel. I'm just gonna reset it. It takes a second. Yeah.
My grandpa had one of those.
Restarting.
Thank you, Don.
You got it.
Have a hand for Don the tech.
So Holly, how's the
Only if I get
first
it
year
working.
gone since you guys kicked off?
How's it gone since we kicked off? It's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been really great. Obviously, the biggest splash has been Lost in Space because it comes with a built-in fan base. But we've also just really been able to, you know, those sort of ideas that you sort of have offhand, and you're like, I want to make a movie out of that, but I don't have the budget. I don't have like $1 million lying around to pay all these extras. And that's the great thing about comic books is you don't need a budget. You just need an artist.
An artist with a lot of patience and talent, as all of us.
And alone.
Yeah, and a llama. We're sharing the llama. Who's doing the llama next?
Yeah, I don't do llama.
So the llama just has to go from title to title.
Yes.
No, where is it
Llama in
listed again?
space.
Llama in
Oh, on the
space.
flash
Right,
drive.
so.
Was it?
It just did.
F, I think.
F.
I think.
F.
Anybody know any jokes?
There we go.
Hey.
They want you
What's the next?
specify the difference between artist and illustrator.
Oh, it's a semantic difference, really, but artist in general is a more it's the whole umbrella of people who do art, and an illustrator takes a story and illustrates it, or it illustrates for a product, a specific product in mind, whereas an artist can be anything. So an illustrator is an artist, but an artist
great.
isn't necessarily an illustrator.
Yeah, I usually go by artist and illustrator.
Yeah.
Like some
It
of
covers it
some
all.
of it is like gallery work and some of it's for a book.
Yeah.
Not that you're not an artist if it's in a book, not that you're not an illustrator if it's
Right.
on gallery level, but.
Exactly. At some point, the definition did split, and that was probably the late 1800s, because like Michelangelo is basically an illustrator who was doing stuff for products for a client.
Yeah,
But
it was
now,
prop design.
yeah.
He was
Sistine
Gucci
Chapel,
before
the world's most expensive print.
Splash page.
Oh, more.
We're just going to tease. This is the cover of issue 6 of Lost in Space, which is coming out next month, I believe. Just shows a little bit of Patrick's process. Begins with a sketch.
I really love the little teapot guy who's in the story. I had to make him look as little as, or I wanted to make him look as little as possible like the Disney teapot. So the teapots are fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving right along.
Yeah. Oh, now you get into Ack-ives. So it almost feels a little bit more like Famous Monsters, just because you guys have, you know, the anthology process, the small vignettes, and there's such different kind of vibes between the different stories. You know, since you have your deck, how do you want to talk about it? Do you have?
I mean, we always sort of, at Famous Monsters, we always sort of had the idea of the Famous Monsters Presents collection sort of going on in the back of our heads. We just really needed an excuse to do it. And so this year is actually Forrest Jackerman, the founder of Famous Monsters, his centennial, what would have been his 100th birthday. And that's part of why AlienCon is happening, because he's Mr. Sci-Fi. He actually invented the term sci-fi. And we decided to celebrate his 100th birthday with a massive collection of short stories in honor of him.
You know, what's cool is, I was reading through the book, and it's got, the stories range everything from stream of consciousness and very kind of just visceral vibe to almost just the purely short story text pieces that you've got in there. Actually, I think almost all of you have stories in the book.
Yes.
Let's talk about, how did you guys get solicited to make a story for the book, or did you have it and pitch it?
Oh, okay. Hi, Ron. Be gentle with me. I'm not very good with English. It's really bad.
Oh,
my
you're
English,
great
so-
at English.
Okay. For maybe one years ago, I've met Victor Gischler, that is the writer of my story, that is Bad Alchemy, on the Days of Formia Convention. In June, he talked to me and told me, well, Marco, I have a story. I'm searching for an illustrator, and I think you can do this. And in those days, I was in Prague, and he told me, well, we can do this where you are. And so I made a lot of photos. I've been there, and we made this story. I think it was great.
The story actually takes place in Prague.
Yeah, the story takes place in Prague, and well, it has all I love. So Nazis, battle, a beautiful woman, a lot of black ink because I love have my hand dirt of ink. And so here it is.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
the first-
and here has werewolf. So
Yes, Nazi werewolves, which I don't depict here, but it's fantastic.
thank you.
Sweet. How you guys doing? So the way that I got pulled into the anthology swing was actually it's a little bit rated R, so I won't go into details. But the short version is I was at a workshop / spa day, and this is actual events. And my writer Tom, we do these weekly workshops, and we just like go through each other's work and just bounce ideas off of each other. And I hadn't been in a really long time because I live in San Francisco now, and these take place in LA. We were going through some of my work, and he was like, "Hey, I'm actually working on this monster script for an anthology. Would you be interested in working on it?" And this is all while we have clothes on, by the way. I said, "Yeah, why do you think I can do it?" And he was like, "Well, I checked out your stuff that you did, with TMS, which is a graphic novel. It's based off of Ian Forrester, who's also a sci-fi master. And I had adapted that, and he dug that. And he sent me the script once he got the okay from Holly over here, and I got down to business, and out came some creepy monsters, a depressing looking antagonist, kind of like Keanu Reeves in every movie, and your local jock, and we brought them together to bring you guys something suspenseful, and I hope you dig it.
Okay. Well, I've already talked a lot, so I'll keep it brief. I did this. Holly sent me this story. She asked me if I'd want to do something for it, and she sent me the story. I don't know if she thought it was going to be in black and white. I just assumed because it was such a black and white story. It really, to me, it reminds me of classic Warren Publications stories. Like creepy and eerie. So I thought, yeah, it's got to be black and white. So I did this. It's a creepy little short story that comes to a rather gruesome, sticky ending.
Yeah, I think Patrick just killed it. This is actually the one that I wrote. It's based on a short story that I did a long time ago. I just based it off. I think my sister said to me once, she said, "You remind me of a praying mantis." I was like, really? Okay. And so I don't know how, but it just sort of became this, which is sort of a like poking fun at hetero hookups and their nature in relation to insects. And I think Patrick just killed it on the noir art. I think it's fantastic.
Thanks. And it was a great script, I should mention. I didn't make it, but I'll say it again.
The last splash page is especially awesome. In fact, I think I want to make posters of it.
Well,
So Holly found me at Comic-Con San Diego and said, "Hey, would you be interested in working on this book?" I'm like, "Very cool. So that sounds fun." And then, like a week later, she wrote me and said, "Hey, I've got a story by Richard Christian Matheson that I want you to illustrate." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, no pressure there."
Richard Christian Matheson is the son of the famed Richard Matheson, who's a classic horror writer of books like I Am Legend and Hell House.
Yeah, he's got a pretty decent relationship with them. And the story itself is she pitched it as more of like a storybook style, so it'd be text and an illustration. And the story is about a rather ill-tempered girl on family vacation. So my challenge was more, a lot of it was like luau's and just her being, kind of mean-spirited in different Hawaiian locales. So my challenge was more to express the scenes through her perspective. So a lot of it's a little more, slightly surreal than literal. But yeah, it's lots of fun.
And your watercolor art, by the way, is just off the book.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the general art styles that you come up with. Let's see, John.
Thank you. Hello. So I was in contact with the Famous Monsters American Gothic Press folks, and Holly had asked if I wanted to do a story for this. I didn't necessarily have an idea rolling around my head, but I had been working and talking about working on a story with a friend of mine from out of Chicago, where I'm based out of, Travis Williams, and we both wanted to do kind of a classic monster story of the kids that empty house that everybody has in their neighborhood, in that movie.
We all know what movie.
Yeah. And so he had read about a woman that had sewn her own son out of a not a real boy, but a yarn baby, basically. And he sent me the link for the story, and it was really creepy. So like we gotta use that. And so we worked that in to the story, and so it's these two kids that get bullied into going into this house and stealing this old lady's yarn knitting kit, and along the way they find that it's of course not as it appears, and the house is full of these yarn children, and she is far worse than imagined. And initially, I had sort of thought that it's more of kind of like a cartoonish characters. In the back of the book, there's the original concept for the two kids, and I kind of had them like really cartoony looking, and I scale that back a little bit because I wanted them to look really jarring next to this really detailed yarn-looking witch creature alien thing. And it's never really given off like what it is. It was a lot of fun.
So will the Acker Mansion as an anthology, are you guys going to continue with it? You did this one as part of an anniversary piece, but is it going to become a regular?
Pending. Not sure, seeing as this one actually gave me an ulcer. It was still a whole lot of fun to work on, and I just also put a little bit of more art up here from other stories. Let's take another just couple seconds to admire how awesome these guys are, by the way. Just their art is fantastic. And these guys all should have booths at Artist Alley if you haven't visited there, and they will sign your book, they will give you commissions, they're all great. So this is John Husman, awesome. Marco. Mark actually informed me he has original pages from the story for sale as well.
I literally got off a plane an hour before this, and so I only have 3 with me today, but I'll have more tomorrow of the original pages. The 3 that I do have are my 3 faves, and so if you can get your hands on those, just know that you'll be having one of my 3 faves.
And probably nightmares because the splash page.
Yep, you're going to have nightmares, yes. Good luck sleeping.
Okay, and then Patrick again. Okay, and this is just a sample of the other stuff that's in there.
Wow.
On the left, Nat Jones doing a zombie story. In the middle, that's Rob Pryor's art. He's a fantastic artist. He did a story by the publisher of DC Comics, Dan DiDio. A really creepy one. It's awesome. Then on the right is a story that was given by Ben Mears and Christian Francis. It's a kind of a disturbing, very disturbing cannibal tale that reminded me very much of creepy, eerie stuff. And it's fantastic. We got this great Filipino artist, Mark Torres, to render that for us, and it just made it even creepier. And we have them. We have the limited special Alien Con edition on sale at the Famous Monsters booth in the Grand Ballroom.
Why did this compilation cause ulcers? You're used to magazine and compiling things like that. What was different on this one?
It had to do with me. So many artists.
That was it. No, it's so much. I edit a lot of comic books and a lot of stuff, but if you sort of take like your usual comic book, you have your artist, your colorist, your letterer. You have a small team of people you're working with. You sort of have to take your comic book editing and multiply it by 20, which is the number of stories we have in this anthology. And yeah, it's not a lot of sleep is happening. Not a lot of it's a very full-time job, wrangling everything.
So in addition to Ack-ives, you guys and Lost in Space, you have your other new IP titles that you guys work on. Was it Island?
Island, yes, Island 731.
One Thin. Those. So how are those progressing along? What's the? Did you come up with the genesis for stories, or are those part of pitches?
The Thin, as I mentioned earlier, that was the one that's all the way back there. This one on the right. Thin was actually the one that I mentioned was the winner of our Best Graphic Novel Award at our film festival, the Silver Screen Fest, which happened here in Santa Clara. It happened in March this year. It's happening in February next year. And it's the first, it's the only, we pride ourselves on being one of the only film festivals that accepts graphic novel submissions because we think that movies and comic books have become so varied in recent years. Like, filmmakers are just going to comics for stories all the time. And yeah, John Clark submitted us, gave us this story, and it was awesome. It's so bizarre and untraditional as far as comic book goes, because the protagonist is not a superhero. She's a regular, depressed, sort of overweight suburban housewife who decides that she gets really depressed and gets really desperate, and over the course of the story, she has to find strength in her that she didn't know she had, essentially, and she has to go through this really gritty trial, and it's disgusting and really inspiring, I think. I don't have an image of Island 731, but that one is it's another adaptation of a Jeremy Robinson novel. It's sort of it's a sort of Dr. Moreau kind of hybrid creatures island story that's really exciting, I think. I like it a lot.
And Broken Moon?
Broken Moon, we're doing a sequel to Broken Moon, which is the new one is Broken Moon Legends of the Deep. And actually Ben Mears, who wrote the cannibal story for Ack-ives, is writing that one.
What do you guys have coming up next on your plate?
Well, Marco?
Yeah?
We have the thing with Killbox, which is the middle title here. Our artist of the first arc has departed, and we were looking for another artist who is really great with inks and black and white. And Marco fell into our lap, and I think he's going to be doing the next arc of Killbox Chicago, which is going to start next year.
Cool. So you have to come out to Chicago.
It's not bad. It's a good way to see the world.
Yeah.
What's next, in general for publications? Are you guys going to be sticking solidly with the horror genre, but you mentioned also Acker's side of science fiction as well. Are you guys going to kind of
that's the funny thing is that Forrest Jackman loved sci-fi, even though Famous Monsters became like a horror thing. And we started American Gothic with 2 sci-fi titles, Gunsuits and Born Home, and then we sort of evolved into more like horror action stuff. But as far as like as far as science fiction goes, we're absolutely all gung ho about it, and we're always looking for pitches as well. So
That's good. Does anybody have any questions for our panelists? Because we can sit up here and chat the entire way long. What kind of, actually everyone, what's the next project, whether it be with Gothic or independently or something else? What are you guys working on now?
Me personally, I had a title release this past week with Alterna. It's called I-Holmes. I took over as the main artist with issue 2. It's about Sherlock Holmes' 7th generation removed granddaughter and how she kicks some ass in New York City. So if you guys have the time, check it out on Comixology. That's I-Holmes.
And I'm working on the second volume of a graphic novel I did called Case File Arkham, which is a detective noir meets H.P. Lovecraft. And it's in black and white, like the style I did for this Acker Mansion story. And I've actually got the first volume for sale at my booth. And yeah, it's going to be really fun to do the second volume. The first one sold really well, and we're really excited about the whole idea. It's it's my loves of horror and noir, detective noir. So yeah, come by and take a look. You can just read through the book and see what you think.
I am a book addict and I can't stop producing books. So next January I have a small art and short story collection called Mind Rabbits coming out, and then shortly after that will be a book called The Book of Teeth, which will be a larger hardcover that collects a bunch of drawings of these teeth creatures I do, which are basically absurd little monsters with giant teeth.
they're awesome.
Come by the booth, they're odd. And then hopefully, I'm hoping sometime in there I can make a comic. I don't know, because I think I have infinite amount of time. And comics are really quick, right?
Yeah, you just spit them out. I did one yesterday.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was looking for. So hopefully I can squeeze a couple days in and just produce several comics.
2 days?
But really,
Oh, that's going to be a masterpiece.
But yeah, I'm really hoping to squirrel away some time and actually dedicate, because I adore comics and the medium, so I'm hoping to push into that as well.
I don't like your microphone. So I actually just got a week or 2 ago. I got to announce the variant cover that I did for the Action Lab book Voracious, which is on its second story arc. Dinosaurs and food. Oh, it's delicious. So I'm doing a couple of other variant covers and project pitches right now. And also just always drawing creepy stuff. So if you go to my website, jonathanlamantia.com, check out my stuff at the table. I also have original pages from Unraveled and a bunch of creepy art.
Oh, what am I not working on? Lots of awesome stuff coming from American Gothic Press next year, hopefully. And who knows, if my ulcer heals, maybe another volume of Acker Mansion.
Hopefully that will happen. I'll get the first one.
Yeah, right.
Now, I hope that I will soon I will meet with Sergio Bonelli Editore, that's its biggest publisher in Italy, and I'm working with another artist for the reboot of one of the series of this publisher that is Not or Never. It's cyberpunk series, and I'll be the inker, so we'll see if it's going well.
So you're keeping yourself busy all over the planet.
Yeah.
Where are you based out of?
No, I'm from Milan. I'm from Italy.
Yeah.
I stay there, but I love travel. I hope to see a lot of places. And so.
And we loved Bad Alchemy so much that we're thinking about producing a mini-series of Phantom Thread as well. So. We're just gonna employ Margot until the end of the world.
So any other last things we can keep an eye out from everybody?
Just visit the Famous Monsters booth. We have all the American Gothic Press comics there. And like I said, all these guys are in Artist Alley, and if you want to pick up a copy and have all of them sign their story, they can. Yeah.
We're right across from the famous booth, famous Monsters booth. So you know, all you got to do is do a pivot.
There we are. Star power.
Let's run down the row, and where can people find you or more about you online? Your Twitter handles, Instagrams, Facebooks, where should they look for you?
I'm on Instagram, and I have an online portfolio on Tumblr. You can find me Ferrari Marco. It's my name. You can find it with this, and I have business cards. And on Instagram, my name is Big Blank Paper. Okay, it's because usually when I woke up, I see this blank paper.
It's kind of like a Sisyphus thing, it just keeps bleeding off and strong.
I've always wanted to say this in front of people because it's I now have an online presence. But if you want to find me, just Google Mark Renee and boom, you can find me. But other than that, I do have an Instagram. It's MarkRenee_art Instagram. You can find all my little sketches and previews into what I'm doing, as well as MarkReneeOnline.com. That's probably your source for everything my world, and you can find out all you need to know there: commissions, release dates, etc., etc.
I'd say Google my name, but nobody can ever spell it right. Even it's not that many letters, but they seem to be confusing in that order. So you can look up Patrick McAvoy. I come in second. There's this dentist that's been around. I want to kill him. He's in the Bay Area too. Sure.
He's actually my dentist.
So if he turns up dead.
Yeah. So if you put in Patrick McAvoy murderer, I'll come in. But otherwise, my website is megaflowgraphics.com, which is longer but easier to remember. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter and DeviantArt. Anyone else on DeviantArt? I like that place. So yeah, look me up. Yeah, it is. We all do. But come by. I think all of us can say the same thing. Come by our tables, and we've got business cards, so that'll make it easy.
If you find one of us, you found most of us.
Yeah.
CodyBrosh.com is probably the easiest place, but I'm also on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, all just as @CodyBrosh. And then I also do live streaming. I stream art live on Twitch every Tuesday from about 3 o'clock and so on until I can no longer stand.
Both of them.
Oh yeah.
So I have a really stupidly long name, and so if you Google it, I'm sorry. But my URL is just jonathanlamantia.com. You can grab a card so you can have the spelling in front of you. And it's got links to my Instagram, my Twitter, my Tumblr, and all that. And of course, there's somebody else with my last name and my first name. So if you look for me, I'm the guy that looks like this all the time, and not the guy from Harvard.
Oh.
Who looks a lot less like that.
If you were the guy from Harvard, you'd have told us.
Yeah. Look like this. I'm totally different. I'm not the construction company out of Chicago anymore. Here is they took the URL and wanted.
Holly?
I'm not an artist, so my Instagram, and my Tumblr, which is just metal _I. It's actually not my name, but it's just a bunch of pictures of my dog mostly. Because I'm not an artist, I don't draw. Sometimes it'll be a photo of me, with stacks of paper and sketches and stick figures working. But it's difficult to figure out what to post on Instagram if you're not an artist. Or Tumblr.
Food.
Interestingly enough, some people do get mad at you if you're an artist and you just keep posting pictures of your art. They're like, "Hey, post something different." I'm like, "Okay, here's the sun." It's kind of weird, but Instagram. It's a place where people like that can go and speak their mind.
But I'm also on Twitter. If you search for my full name, I've got business cards as well, and my email and everything. So.
Well, congratulations again for American Gothic. You guys made it through the first year and a half, and going into 17.
And thanks for Holly for doing all that.
Yes,